Joining us now is Marc Bernstein. He's a fiscal therapist, not a physical therapist, a fiscal therapist, speaker and author of the Fiscal Therapy Solution 1.0. And his book is The 6 Steps to Personal, Business, and Financial Health, which everyone needs. As we await, and there is Dr. Marc Bernstein, not doctor, but Marc Bernstein joins us right now. Hey, Marc, how are you?
I'm doing great, John. You could say I'm a doctor. I'm a juris doctor. I'm a lawyer by background as well, so you can call me doctor if you want.
All right, so you're a JD, and you're the fiscal therapist.
You got, yeah.
Everybody probably needs a little fiscal therapy right now, Marc. And I'm wondering, I know you booked the Fiscal Therapy Solution 1.0, 6 Steps to Personal and Business Health. What are the 6 steps?
That's a very good question. I got to tell you, I don't know them by heart. I'll be right there. In the book, I'm back. In the book, it's outlined by the chapters. We compare physical therapy, what I do, to what a doctor does, or to what a psychologist or therapist might do. And it's a process we take people through. Step 1 is what brought you here. Why'd you come into the office? What's bothering you? What's troubling you? Just like a doctor would do. Step 2 is getting to know you, really understanding our clients. Step 3 is let's have a look. Step 3 is what you need to do is you get a prescription just like you would from a doctor. Step 5 is this won't hurt a bit. That's the implementation phase of the plan. Step 6 is see you in 3 to 6 months, where we stay in touch with our clients and review. So the idea is that there's a process involved of really understanding what people want and what they need, as opposed to just buying financial products off the shelf, which is the way a lot of our industry operates and has for many years.
So, a lot of people get tangled up in this stuff. They start, trying to get outside their means. I'm all about trying to help and empower individual investors, but is this something people can do on their own, or do people need somebody like you to tell them what's happening?
They can, and there are people, and I hope that people read the book. If they can do it all on their own, that's great. I think many people need help along with the journey because they need an objective point of view. Just like you wouldn't necessarily treat yourself medically, although you might know what you think you need, it's probably good to have someone else take a look. So I think it's important that they find someone they know, they trust, to guide them on the journey. I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, I'm in the business. I even go to partners of mine for help on my own things because, it's when in law school, they teach you, probably heard this expression, the lawyer that represents himself has a fool for a client.
Yeah.
And you certainly don't see some things about yourself or your situation that you might otherwise if you were on the outside.
Well, I'm not a financial advisor, nor do I even play one on TV, but I've been around the markets for 30 years now. I've kind of focused most of my market mannerisms around short selling, so I don't advise that to anyone unless they really know what they're doing. But most people, they don't look at their portfolio, to me, their life portfolio of all the different assets they have. And people don't look at their expenses. They just get caught up in paying all these bills. And sometimes doesn't it just take sitting down and drawing up a ledger and saying, all right, here's what I actually spend every month, and here's how much I actually bring in every month. And then you could start doing a process of elimination.
No question. And with what we're going through right now as a country, as a world, I guess you should say, it's a good time to reevaluate that because obviously a lot of businesses, a lot of my clients are business owners, but everybody is feeling it in some way or another. Most people are. And I think it's a good time to reevaluate. What are you spending? What are you earning? What can you afford? What can't you afford? The other thing is we were talking about products. People have all these financial products. I call it the financial attic, where they're all up in the attic and you have all this stuff and you don't really know what's up there or whether you're ever going to use it and how you use it and how this is all going to fit together in a plan when you need it, which is really at your time of financial independence or retirement or whenever you're going to start drawing on those assets. John, are you there?
Yeah,
I
I hear
can't.
you. I'm
Okay.
sorry. When a crisis like this comes around, my short seller instincts go right into effect. And I know one of the things you wanted to talk about was that many companies are embracing remote working. Um,
Yep.
and I think when I look at the market right now, I hear a lot of business owners and employers saying they could see right away where the dead weight is on their staff because they're having really efficient operations with people at home, but they could see where the dead weight is. So I think people are going to re-examine and cull the herd in their human resources now. And at the same time, I'm really looking at, from a short seller perspective, publicly traded commercial real estate companies like Brookfield Asset Management, like Simon Properties that own a lot of office space and a lot of mall space. I think
Yep.
many companies are going to re-examine their brick and mortar footprint when this is over.
Well, first of all, Carl Icahn agrees with you. He's stated that he's short selling commercial real estate. So there's a powerhouse that agrees with you.
One of my friends,
Look,
too.
it's beyond just cutting the herd, too. They're finding that some people are more productive at home and some people can be properly supervised at home. And I see it all around me. I'm in Philadelphia and we have a lot of law firms here, and I'm hearing, and I work with many of the partners at many of the law firms. And one of the things I'm hearing is an example, the partners like to stay home and work. They feel like they get more done. They can be more efficient. And interesting, their staffs want to be in the office because they associate being in the office with job security, and or visibility in order to get elevated in their positions and things like that. So they're really having to rethink, but do we need all that expensive downtown real estate? And I think everybody's going to be reevaluating that. You've seen it. I'm sure you've heard Nationwide Insurance out of Columbus, Ohio, huge. They have a big part of that city that they're cutting back right now. They have 98% of their people working at home, and they've decided that except for 4 major locations, everybody's going to work at home going forward.
Yep. And
Um,
I think a lot of companies, like you said, when I was talking about culling the herd, when you're doing well, you carry some people because you hope they're going to come around or they don't stick out as glaring. Now, when things get a little tighter, you could see it more. And one of the things that I'm looking at is, when you say people get more, they see they're more efficient. They don't have to travel. They don't have to commute. They don't. Maybe some people will get raises, other people will get cut. You know what I'm saying? Because there'll be economies of scale in there from maybe lowering their rent, lowering their footprint. So it could be, for quality employees, this could be a boon.
Well, I think you're right. And I mentioned law firms. Again, I'll use them as an example. It's my background. So, law firms, they're also having a billing crisis. The billings rates of law firms in big cities, I don't know how to tell you, have gone through the roof.
Yeah, everyone
And
must feel terrible for those guys, Mark.
I understand. However, this is going to help them with that because if more people are working at home and they're using more suburban sites and off-site working, they don't have to charge as much. And because look, some of them are losing clients due to the fact that and I understand law firms, that's a microcosm of a lot of things, but I think everybody's going to have to learn how to be efficient. Look, restaurants, look at how
Yep.
restaurants are struggling right now.
Sure,
And
it looks grim.
they may not go back to,
It
to
looks
full
grim for
seating for a long
restaurants.
time. So
Mark,
how do they cut
Mark,
costs?
we're gonna have
Sure.
to leave it there. We're up against
Yes,
the
sir.
hard break. We're gonna have to have you back. Thank you very much, Marc Bernstein, author of the Fiscal Therapy Solution.